Hey, and welcome to WebT 2300 with Burke. Today, I want to run you guys through our process of deploying applications and working through MobaXTerm. So go ahead and, if you don't have MobaXTerm installed already, what you can do, come out to your browser, just search MobaXTerm, download. You'll want to go with the Home Edition. No reason to spring for the subscription. You can download that with a portable edition that doesn't install to your system. You just click the executable and run it. And then there's a Home Edition, which features the installer. But yeah, coming back out to MobaXTerm here. What we are going to be doing is connecting to our session via SSH. So I'm going to go ahead and delete this session here so that you can see me build it from scratch. But you'll want to start by going up here to Session, and then you want to select FTP. The remote host for FTP is going to be ftp.geraldburke.com. And your username will be the username I assigned you at geraldburke.com. So in this case, I'm going to use my user. Hit OK. Don't need to worry about advanced settings. All right. And then coming down through here, the place you should land is inside of your FTP folder. So for me, I have it defaulted to come out here to public HTML. Anything that I drop in here is going to be accessible from the website. Now, if I were to come down into a student's FTP folder, and I will pick, well, I don't want to pick any of your guys' specific folders because this is going out into the world, but you will have, by default, you'll have a file called FTP quota. Now, just like any other directory on an HTTP server, at the root of the directory, it's going to look for a file called index.whatever file format you happen to be using. So in this class, we're primarily using HTML. And as you can see here, I have a file here called index.html. Now, a little bit of quality of life before we go ahead and open that up. We can come out here to Settings. Oh, I don't think it's Settings. It might actually be, here we go, Settings Configuration. Oh, yeah, no, that was right. That was right the first time. So if you come down here, we have a persistent home directory, persistent root directory. You don't need to worry about these because they are related to running local sessions on your local machine. However, the default text editor program, this is going to open your files whenever you double click on them. And by default, it will be Moba's built-in text editor, which is fine. It's fine, but it's not good. So you can change this here. And for me, I have it pointing to my VS Code executable. Typically, it will be inside of app data, local programs, Microsoft VS Code. If you're using Sublime Text, you can just pick the Sublime Text executable. If you're using Notepad, you can pick the Notepad executable. But because of that, because that's set, whenever I double click on one of these, it's going to open it up in VS Code. And here is the code for the index page for my directory. Now, what I would like for you guys to do is create an index page for each of your directories. And it could just be a list of links to whichever directories that you have your lab projects in. But I want you to think about it in terms of putting together a portfolio, because doing this now will give you a good basis for when we do our GitHub Pages lab. Now, if we make a change here, and let's say, oh, here's a good one. So I personally like for links to open in new tabs when you click on them, because if I'm using something as a reference, I don't want to have to, back out of whatever resource it took me to. So target blank does that for us, and when I save, or when I go to save, I get this little dialog here. So effectively what's happening is, if you come up here, there is a temporary directory set up in MobaXTerm where you are editing your files, and whenever you make changes and save those changes, MobaXTerm is going to want to push those changes to the remote. So you can say yes. You can say yes to all if there's more than one dialog, if you're saving more than one file at a time. You could say no or cancel. Typically, when I'm working on this, I'll use autosave. Now, particularly in Visual Studio, there's actually tools that will handle FTP for you. So effectively you can set up, hit the remote connection. I have, over the course of this semester, messed with a lot of these, and personally I didn't feel like any of them were simpler than just coming out here, double clicking on a file and editing it. Now we have some options, some other options here as well. We can, from our own directories, we can drag and drop files into MobaXTerm, and that will allow us. So if you've got a lab that's in a directory called lab whatever, you can actually just take that whole directory, drag and drop it in there, and just make sure that your HTML file is named, your main HTML file is named index.html. Now you can download stuff, so you can click download selected files. You can also upload files by clicking this upload dialog here, but you can drag and drop as well. So if I wanted this on my desktop, and we're waiting. So FTP isn't like crazy fast. It's a secure connection. It's a two-sided FTP connection, or a TCP connection. So it requires, for each thing you ask it for, it requires that handshake process. Now, two more things that we can do with this is we can rename files, directories. All right, and we went real weird here, but we have something here. And we can also delete files and directories. Now, the one thing we can't do that you would kind of think we would be able to do, it's resisting deleting. There we go. Nope. Delete error, non-existent file or permission denied. So, that's weird. Let me see if I could delete. An individual one. Nope, still delete error. Now I did just change its name, so I wonder if that's related. Yeah, okay, so I was able to delete that one. So something weird happened when I changed this guy's name, and now when I go to delete it, it's deleting it by that name or by its original name. I'm not super sure which one's happening, and it's creating an issue. The one thing, though, that you can't do that you would think you would be able to do is if I wanted to move something somewhere or copy something somewhere, you can't do that. So if you have this file and you want to put it in Lab 5, what you would do is you would download it. And of course you can drag and drop to download it, and then you would, and I prefer to have the directory open if I'm being honest. Bam. And that's a way for you to move, copy, and then from there I could go back. If I don't need this there, I can hit the delete key and delete it. Now, I'm pretty sure that that is all I have to show you guys right now. But like I said, just go in there and, you know, if you've got lab directories, all you have to do to create a link to that lab directory is to do an anchor tag, make the href the name of the directory, and then put whatever text feels appropriate. You can use target blank if you want it to open in a new tab. If you don't care, you don't have to. That's just a personal preference for me. All right, so thank you for jumping in here, taking a look at this. Our next video is going to be on our Git workflow. So hope you guys have a great day.